Hi guys, Mary Language here with another helpful hints for artists on your artistic journey. So no matter where you are in your artistic journey, I'm here to inspire and empower you with your art. So today I want to talk about 3 really easy quick tips for how not to overwork your piece of art. The first one is step back. Always throughout your process of working, you should step back, squint your eyes, and see your art from a distance. This helps in multiple ways. It helps to bring out the contrast and the values in, if you're doing painting or drawing, you're able to see kind of those contrasts a little bit better when you step back. You see the whole thing when you step back versus when you're up close working with details and working a piece at a time, right? And so stepping back gives you a whole new perspective and view of your painting. So what I've noticed with myself is sometimes if I get too tight, too close with my work, and then I step and I'm kind of in the process, I'm thinking, oh, this is actually looking pretty good. I'm kind of liking how this looks and this looks. I'm just too zoomed in, right? But then when I zoom out, after I've done that, I'm like, oh, it does not look good. Like that happens almost regularly for me. If I'm working too close too long and I'm liking it, if I step back, I usually don't like it. But if I'm up close and I'm like, okay, I think this is working, and I'm spending my time, but I'm spending my time evenly across the whole thing, and then when I step back, I'm way happier with the results than when I'm working up close and I'm loving it and then step back and hate it. So constantly be like thinking of your painting or your sculpture or whatever you do as a whole, not so much as little pieces that make up a whole, even though that is what you're doing. Thinking of the whole painting as one big piece, you're making it work, you're balancing this and that. Stepping back gives you that frame of mind, it gives you that perspective to be able to see things that maybe are slightly off. Second thing is stop tweaking things. Stop it, stop it. So if you have a perfectionist tendency, the thing you're going to be spending your time on until you tell yourself your painting is done or perfect is constantly shifting things, tweaking things, right? You might be shifting the edge of something that's a little bit wider and rounder. You might be changing the texture of something a little bit deeper. You might be adding a little bit more contrast here or softening the background more, whatever it is. Stop it. Because it's those little tweaks, those constant little tweaks, one after the other, that no one will have known the difference whether you did it or not. They're just not gonna know the difference. You might know the difference, but it's so subtle. Was it really worth your time to shift that? I think it's important as an artist to, again, think big picture and think if someone looks at this, their first glance at this, what is the impression they're getting? Obviously, tweaking has its place, but if you're over tweaking, you're leaving a painting on the easel, coming back to it months and months on end, changing little things and shifting little things, I think that's a bad habit for not accomplishing work and not finishing work. Stop the tweaking. Just stop it. You can do a little bit if something just looks off, but you have to say to yourself, that's enough, that's it, it looks good, and move on. Another way to step back is actually to put your art away for like a few days, a week, a few months, almost to the point where you've forgotten you've made it. After you've been, absorbed in it so much for so long, you actually either, depending on the piece of art, can notice awful things about it later, or you realize, oh wow, like actually I was onto something, like this actually looks good, like I think it just might need a few things. Your mind is clearer when you put it away. And the third thing, which I always give my students, and honestly, if you're in a classroom setting or a workshop setting, this third advice is easier to get. But basically, you want to ask someone else's opinion. I would highly recommend that you don't just pick someone who's totally not into art and doesn't have an eye for things, because that may not be as helpful as you want it to be, because they don't know the lingo, they don't know what they're looking at or looking for to help you or critique you. But finding someone that is a little bit creatively inclined, but maybe not so much in your vein of art, that can give you some advice but has a fresh eye, especially someone who hasn't watched you through the process of your work. for this particular piece, something that is completely fresh to them is going to be important. Hey, what do you think? What do you like about this? What do you don't like about this? And then changing things based on that, or reassessing what your painting or your art should look like based off of what they said. Because sometimes they might say something or point something out that you were like, ooh, that's not what I want you to see or to get out of it. And so those types of critiques are super, super, super valuable, super helpful for you on your artistic journey when you are trying to improve your art, but you're also trying to finish it and move on to the next one, right? You want to keep things moving, keep making art. Don't stall on one piece of art for too long. So those are my 3 tips and tricks for how to avoid overworking your piece, getting other people involved with the process, giving you advice, stepping back, giving yourself fresh eyes. Hopefully you found this video helpful and that you can maybe implement some of these tricks with your art and not overworking things. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I'd love for you to join this community that I'm growing. Share it with another artistic or creative friend. See you next time. Bye.